Good evening. Um, it is May 17th, 2015, and I just want to record some truth about the happenings in the newspapers and on the media, and from my own heart and my experiences. I want to bring your attention to this book called The Soiling of Old America, the story of a photograph that shocked America. Shows a young man uh, with an American flag getting ready to impale what looks like he's going to impale, but he didn't, of a black lawyer. And it's also interesting because the event and image that the soiling of Old Glory brings readily to mind are the Boston Massacre and Paul Revere's engraving of the scene. On the evening of March 5th, 1770, following an altercation between an apprentice and a British sentry, a crowd gathered by the customs house and began taunting a group of soldiers. The British had been in Boston for nearly 18 months and sent to maintain order following a protest against various parliamentary acts. With bayonets fixed, the soldiers prodded the crowd, and then the British soldiers opened fire. Several died on the spot, others succumbed later. And they had a picture of the scene. This was made famous. Paul Revere, if I get that in there. Well, what's also interesting is this. Bring our attention to some people. Only in the mid-19th century did Crispus Attucks become fully transformed into a black revolutionary hero. Now, before I read that, I want you to listen to this. At a different level, the story of Crispus Attucks, the black man considered the first victim of the Boston Massacre. Attucks was a runaway servant, a sailor, and a rope maker in his 40s who was a familiar figure among the working class of Boston. John Adams, who defended the British soldiers at their trial, identified the protesters as a motley rabble of saucy boys, Negroes, mulattoes, Irish Teagues, and outlandish Jack Tars, and he identified Attucks as an instigator who grabbed the soldier's bayonet and struck a blow. But most patriots in Boston treated him as a martyr in the cause of liberty, and he was buried in a hollowed soil at the Granary Burying Ground. Only in the mid-19th century did Attucks become fully transformed into a black revolutionary hero, a symbol not simply of liberty, but of the abolition of slavery. His resurrection came at the hands of William Cooper Nell, a black Boston historian, who in 1855, y'all, I want y'all to pay attention to dates, published Colored Patriots of the American Revolution. Nell opened the book with a chapter on Attucks and a renewed call for a monument to the fallen hero. Boston's black community embraced the cause, and on March 5th, 1858, a year after the Dred Scott decision, which ruled blacks were not citizens, held a Crispus Attucks Day. By then, an artist had re-imaged Revere's version of the Boston Massacre, which did not indicate race, and made Attucks the central figure. In the lithograph, Attucks is falling backward, his hand on the bayonet that had just pierced him. Now we got the picture. And that makes all the difference in the world. Right there, brothers and sisters. And the visual parallel between Foreman's photograph and the print. Foreman is the one who took this picture for the cover. The visual parallel between Foreman's photograph and the print from more than 100 years earlier are remarkable. In the aftermath of the assault on Landsmark, the connection to Crispus Attucks was not lost on writers. Editors at Ebony offered a blues verse. If you see Crispus Attucks and the blacks who died to make us free, if you see Crispus Attucks and the blacks who died to make us free, tell them it's business as usual in Boston and the land of liberty. The editors wondered what Crispus Attucks, the black who became the first martyr of the Revolution and the hero of the Boston Massacre, would have thought of the assault on Landsmark. He would have understood the racism, of course, for all or almost all of the white founding fathers were marked by the racism of their time. But it is doubtful he could have understood the insensitivity of public officials who are repeating the mistakes of the white founding fathers and subtly fanning the flames of discord with code words like forced busing Haven't we learned in all these years that there can be no salvation for us, either in time or eternity, if we do not regain the sense and the spirit of a revolutionary dream proclaimed on July 4th, 1776? A letter to the Boston Globe notes that it is ironic that Mr. Landsmark was attacked within a stone throw's distance of the site of the Boston Massacre, where Crispus Attucks, a black man, was the first person to die in the American Revolution. The first person to die. Now, as evidenced by this attack, the black people of Boston have very little reason to celebrate the bicentennial, for they still are not free to safely walk the streets of this city. But I also must tell you another story. This man, right there, this man holding that flag, many years later, of course, I ran into a relative of his that needed help. And when he saw that picture up on the wall, because I had it up, and I had a picture of the brother, man, he had his nose bandaged and everything, and he saw it on my office wall, and he commented that, oh, here we go. And I said, what's the matter? He said, look at his last name. That's mine. It's a relative of mine. It's my uncle. And I said, you want to know something? That ain't got nothing to do with me and you. Because we sitting down dealing with something else. And we need each other, and we're close friends to this day. We are close friends to this day. We are there for each other to this day. Family and everything. Been in my house. I've been at the funeral of his father. And we are close. There's a group of us that decided to live today and not in yesterday. He has nothing to do with his uncle. And I have nothing to do with what happened then other than to be educated about it and live better now. We are close people. We don't look alike. We come from different parents. We're Americans. We're also spiritual beings that have God in our life. And we help each other when we need each other. And so, I guess what the moral of this story is Stevie Wonder said, this world is just not for all men. History will repeat again. It's time we learn that this world is made for all men. And in my heart, I am going to still preach that love is the answer. The world is going to be ugly. It's shown itself to be ugly in all of our history. But it is the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could be any clearer. That if I want to make the world a better place, I have to look at myself and make that change. Look at yourself and make the change that's needed. Our children are waiting. It's up to you. We got to let go and let God. Love beauty, baby. Love beauty.